Hello, we just released the new version 9.1.3.4 of Shape3d X, and I'm going to show you the main new features. So one of the main changes is that the export function is no more in the file menu. Now it has its own menu where you can see the 2D export, 3D export, Hollywood, Hotwire, and 2D CNC and XML5. And now if you go to 2D export, you have a preview of the curves you're going to export. For example, all the curves of the top view, outline, curves, spin template, and also the 3D layer outlines or surfaces. If you go to bottom surfaces, and you still have the same functionalities like adding a margin if you export as polyline, etc. And you can also have all the side view exports and cross sections. And for the 3D export, you have the same functionalities like nurbs export in the IGES format and meshes export in the DXF, OBJ, or SCL export. And you can also export all the slices in a DXF or IGES file. Now for the Hollywood plans, you have a preview which is very useful to see the effect of all these parameters like include skin outline, change the number of stringers, and so you can see it straight away on the screen. Change the number of split, change the kind of rail mode you're using, and also change the spacing of the slices, add new slices, etc. The shape of the holes, and also include elements like rail guides, tail blocks, negative of the slices, etc. And also now you can export it directly in G-code format to create a toolpath. And for this, then you define the tool diameter and the thickness of the wood plank to do the passes that goes from one piece to the other. A new feature in this version is that you can now lock the 3D layers. For here, there is a spoon concave design using a center 3D layer, and here now you can lock it, and then it can only be moved as a block, and you can be sure that you won't deform it. If you look in another file with more 3D layers like this one, you can see that the 3D layer can be locked and they can also be grouped. So here you have two 3D layers that are in the same group, this one and this one, and the group is locked, so the two 3D layers can only be moved as a block, and you can do combinations like this. And so if you want to move only one point of a 3D layer, you just need to go to the parameter and check locked, and then you can move them separately. Now we have a new functionalities for the control point. Here I see the position of the control point, and I can now display this position relatively to another one. Like I can select stringer top curve, point number 3, for example, and I can also fix it. In this case, the point to which it's fixed is displayed in green. And if I click on this point, I can see that the other one is also displayed in red, which means that it's fixed to it. And if I move it, they will all move together. Maybe I can show you this other new functionality. If you select several control points. Right click with the Shift K press. Now you have the function shift selected points. And for example, if I want to shift the whole curve perpendicularly towards the center of the board, for example, I press -1 and the whole curve will be shifted perpendicularly. That's a nice new feature. Another new feature we have for the 3D layer is to have continuity at the tail or nose of a 3D layer. For example, if I look at this recess deck, if I go towards the tail, then there is a step here. And if I want to correct the step, I need to insert a slice here on the 3D layer and adjust it. But now you can just use the function smooth transition for xmin position here, and it has inserted a slice here that is exactly copying the original shape. And even if I move the shape of the board, then automatically the tail slice of the 3D layer will copy this shape to make sure there is a smooth transition at the tail. Looking at the 3D view, now we have a new wire mode. I can show you this with another model, for example this one, and go to full 3D. So that's the definition curve mode we had before, and now here you have another mode. If you uncheck all definition lines, then you get only the curves that are on the board, and also you can uncheck slices here to have only curves, and also you can choose to only display the definition curves that correspond to edges, which mean angulous points on the control on the slices here, and so you only see the angulous sections. Now let me show you some new functionalities in the CNC mode. If I open this fin here, for example, and go to CNC, now you see that you can cut multiple fins or multiple elements at the same time, define the number of columns and rows, and shift it, tilt it as you like, and create the toolpath for a whole plate of fins at the same time. Also, we have new functionalities for the cut of the 3D layers, like cut along the y-axis, and also cut only an outline path. So you can set the number of lines to 0 and check outline path, and then you will only have the outline path of the 3D layer. So that's it for this video. There are also more small functionalities and corrections, of course, that I'm sure we'll be happy to discover. Goodbye.